The cabin stood alone, hidden deep within the ominous woods. It was supposed to be a relaxing getaway, but as darkness crept in, unease settled upon me like a heavy fog. The isolation weighed heavily on my mind. As night fell, I lit a crackling fire in the hearth, hoping its warm glow would dispel my growing unease. But outside, the woods seemed to come alive with haunting whispers, unintelligible but filled with malice. My heart pounded with every faint murmur. A flickering lamp on the cabin's porch was my only defense against the encroaching darkness. I was determined not to let fear take hold of me, but as the lamp suddenly sputtered and went out, terror gripped my heart. The forest fell into pitch-black silence. In the inky darkness, unseen footsteps circled the cabin, soft and barely audible. I strained my ears, trying to decipher the source of the haunting sounds. A sense of dread washed over me. Something was out there, watching, waiting. Through the dim moonlight, I caught fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures dancing just beyond the cabin's windows. My breath hitched as I realized there were no trees close enough to cast those eerie silhouettes. The entity was tormenting me, toying with my sanity. Fear consumed me, and I huddled in a corner, desperate to protect myself from the malevolent presence outside. But the entity was relentless. It knew I was vulnerable, and it was exploiting every crack in my courage. Whispers seeped through the walls of the cabin, maliciously taunting me with dark secrets and promises of doom. The entity spoke of horrors unimaginable, designed to break my spirit and leave me defenseless against its will. With trembling hands, I mustered the courage to face the entity. Armed with a flashlight, I opened the cabin door, determined to shed light on the sinister mystery surrounding me. Outside, the chilling wind howled like a lamenting cry. In the shadows just beyond the reach of my flashlight, the entity revealed itself, a twisted, grotesque figure that defied comprehension. Its eyes glowed with a malevolent light, and its presence sent a shiver down my spine. It wanted to torment me, to break me. Locked in a terrifying stare, I refused to cower before the entity. I summoned every ounce of courage, finding strength in my survival instincts. I wouldn't be a victim, I'd be a survivor. The cabin's walls seemed to vibrate with malevolence as the entity unleashed its final assault. But just as it attempted to breach the cabin's threshold, a surge of defiance welled up within me. I shouted with all my might, commanding the entity to leave me be. In an ethereal whisper, the entity recoiled, its hold on the cabin weakening. It hesitated, as if unsure of the power it faced. Seizing the moment, I repeated my demand, my voice quivering but resolute. The entity, unable to overcome my newfound strength, slowly withdrew into the shadows. With each step it took back, the haunting whispers faded, and the malevolence lifted like a fog. As dawn broke, the entity's presence vanished completely. The cabin stood silent and still, no longer plagued by the sinister force. Though I survived that haunting night, the memories would forever haunt me, a reminder of the darkness that lurked in the deepest corners of the world. As the whispers intensified, I became increasingly aware of the entity's malevolent presence just beyond the cabin walls. Though tempted to confront it, I knew that direct contact might be my undoing. Instead, I resolved to endure the night, hoping the entity would eventually lose interest and depart. The entity grew bolder, testing my resolve with relentless torment. Shadows danced on the cabin walls, contorting into grotesque shapes that sent shivers down my spine. Objects moved on their own, and the cabin's atmosphere grew colder, even though the fire blazed in the hearth. Amidst the whispers, I began to hear a haunting melody, faint yet unmistakable. It played in my mind like a macabre symphony, sending chills through my entire body. The melody seemed to draw the entity closer, filling the cabin with an overwhelming sense of dread. In the midst of the chaos, books flew off shelves, the walls groaned with unseen pressure, and the entity's presence became almost palpable. I felt as if I were suffocating under the weight of an unknown malevolence. The relentless assault on my senses tested my sanity, blurring the line between reality and nightmarish illusion. Time lost its meaning as the night seemed to stretch into eternity. I clung to the hope that daylight would bring an end to this haunting nightmare. In a moment of desperation, I dared to peek outside. Through the window, I caught a fleeting glimpse of the entity's form, a monstrous shadow, shifting and contorting with an otherworldly grace. Its eyes glowed with a fierce intensity, fixated on me. In an intense standoff, the entity finally chose its path. It let out an ear-piercing wail that echoed through the woods, rattling the very foundation of the cabin. Slowly, it began to recede, drawn back to the depths of the forest, cursed but unbound. With the entity's departure, the cabin fell silent once more. The haunting whispers ceased, but an eerie feeling lingered in the air. I knew that the entity might return someday, and that knowledge left me with a sense of both relief and trepidation. As I left the cabin the next morning, I couldn't help but cast a last glance back at the mysterious woods. The experience had forever changed me, a reminder that there are forces beyond our understanding, ancient, enigmatic, and sometimes malevolent.